Hey up, it's been probably 5 weeks since I got my ICP test back, and it showed high tin and high zinc. I think the tin was something like 35 micrograms per litre, and the zinc was 15 micrograms per litre, so both high. Took all my power heads apart and couldn't find any corroding metal, so could it be my heaters? Also taken apart my main sump pump, and that looks fine as well, so it's a trying tale. I don't really know what to do. I guess I'll have to replace the heaters. I've not put a magnet through the sand, which maybe I should do. I've not done that. I bought some ATI phosphate AL stop, and that absorbs phosphates, but what it also does is adsorbs metals, heavy metals, supposedly my zinc and tin. So I put that in, and unfortunately one of my acros stripped pretty much on the second day, so I don't know whether it's taken out the metals. My Zoas, as usual, are behaving really strangely. They sort of half open. They sort of open in the morning, and then by midday they close. Thought it might be the light is too bright, but it's not that, because I lowered them, and in fact the same colony I've got in a highlight, and that's absolutely fine, and yet the bigger colony in lower light or medium light is still bad. Thought it was the high flow. I've put it in low flow. I've put it in Coral RX because I thought there might be pests, but they're all my Zoas are behaving a bit strangely, really. So I think maybe the heavy metals are still there, and I'm going to have to periodically put in this heavy metal adsorber. And like a fool, I've still been dosing iodide. 1 minute, I don't dose for a few days, and then I think, oh, everything's suffering because I've got no iodine, and so I dose again, and then I dose huge amounts. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I had, I think, 50 times overdose of iodine a while ago, so I've not learnt, have I? But what I have done, I got a Red Sea iodine test kit, because I found the Salifert test kit I couldn't make any sense of it. So I got that a few days ago, and I'm really happy. Well, hopefully it's telling me I have got high iodine. I think about, well, maybe 0.09 or more. So anyway, I'm not going to dose any more iodine for quite until I get a decent reading from this Red Sea iodine test kit. My nitrates are reading about 6 parts per million at the moment, which is the highest I've ever had it, actually. I stopped dosing nitrates. I was dosing potassium nitrate up until about 4 days ago, so I've stopped dosing that. It hasn't really come down in the 4 days. I'm monitoring my phosphates using Salifert at the moment. Decided not to use the Hana sachets and go back to the Salifert phosphates for a bit. Quite liking the simplicity of that, and I think, well, it's registering maybe 0.03 phosphates, although I can't really tell whether it's 0.03 or 0.1. But I'm gonna stop. Well, I've lowered the dosing of the phosphates, so I was dosing phosphate as well, so I've lowered that, and I'm going to keep lowering it until I get a clear reading on the Salifert. My refugium became a bit overgrown. I've got this grape caulerpa in there and some chaetomorpha, but I've let some other algae sort of take over, and I don't think it's as efficient as the Chaetomorpha, so I'm going to try and jig the refugium so that the Chaetomorpha grows better in it, and hopefully the nitrates and phosphates will come down. But I do love the refugium. I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm chucking loads of food at the fish. That's something I really like. I mean, my rock work is still a bit mucky. I've not got that much bubble algae. I've been sort of periodically scraping it off, and it's not really coming back, which is quite nice. Although my rock work, as I say, does look a bit mucky. I've been scrubbing my rock work a bit with a toothbrush, and some of it, the rock work at the top part of the tank is not really, the algae isn't coming back, which is surprising. It's like the snails like cleaning that top part of the rock, and I've got some lovely different shades of coralline on the top parts of the rock. So my acros, apart from that one that's stripped because of the phosphate absorber, the rest of them are surviving. I've got some that are growing quite well, some that don't seem to be growing at all, although they're not diminishing either, so I'm just happy that they're alive. And polyp extension, as usual, is pretty much non-existent. My Montipora spongades is doing pretty well. That's growing quite nicely. It's turning into quite a nice piece. It's not huge growth, but yeah, it's definitely growing, so that's good. So I'm just happy, like I say, that the acroporas are living, and somehow I've got to get on top of this heavy metal stuff. It's a bit painful because I can't keep sending off for ICP tests. It's just too expensive. So I've just got to chuck in this bag of AL Stop and hope that it absorbs metals periodically. This acro is the one that's very near the top, and that's growing quite well. You can see those sort of violet tips, and they're sort of multiplying, so that's really nice. Yeah, that's right near the top. I've actually upped my lights as well. I've upped them a bit more, put a bit more white light on. This one has changed colour, this acro. It's actually growing a bit. It's quite high up, but I don't think it's particularly happy, but it is growing a bit. It's changed colour from what it was. It was a much more luminous colour, and yeah, it's gone a sort of yellow colour. This guy is a bit lower down. He could do with going higher up. He's doing okay. He's not growing that much, but he's a nice colour. This Montipora cap, I don't know whether you call it a Montipora cap, that's nice colour. This guy was one that almost stripped about 4 weeks ago, but is clinging on for dear life. It's not really growing. It's quite low down. Again, it needs to be higher up. And this one again is lower down, needs to be. I'm hoping in the future to get on top of these heavy metals. Not sure how I'm going to do it. And now I've got this decent iodine test kit. I'm hopefully going to dose iodine properly when I need to. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon. Ta-ra.